Hello, hello, I am Jim Bob and welcome to another TSW Tuesday Livestream. Tonight we're going to be running the West Somerset pack. Fancy a change of pace. We've run some quite fast services recently. I think it's nice to just slow things down a little bit. And we'll take a nice little casual jaunt along the West Somerset Railway. So we'll start off with some Class 47 services, I think. Let's go with some glorious weather, because we ran some miserable weather last time out. Let's go with summer and clear. And we'll start with a loco exchange at Minehead, I think. Why not? Let's see, we've got Kat and Haas and Lyrically Spoken in the chat. Good to see you guys. How are you doing? Unfortunately, we had to cancel last week's live stream because I had a bit of a migraine. I just couldn't do it. It was too much. So apologies for no live stream last week, but we are back up and running this week, as you can see. Right. Let's get our engine up and running. Key on. Reverser into forward. Throttle on. Check the brakes are released. There we go. A little bit of movement. We're not going too far down the road, as you can see. Just a few hundred yards. We're going to be switching over onto these coaches, I think. Hi, Katie. Yes, the Germany DLC for Railway Empire has turned up. It's available. I've got my my copy of that earlier today. I'm going to sit down and start recording that this week, and hopefully in a couple of days' time, maybe tomorrow if I get the chance, then the first episode of that will go live. There are quite a few changes to go through with that. The scenario is a huge map, and it now actually employs, at least for that scenario, something kind of similar to the way that we buy fields in Farming Simulator 19. We buy plots of land now. It's the same with the Germany campaign, or the Germany scenario on Railway Empire. You have set parcels of land that you have to purchase before you can expand your railway. That's kind of cool. Be interesting to see how that works. Killer Scott is in the chat, and Tae-Young Kim, apologies if I'm pronouncing your name wrong there. Oh, Oscar has popped in as well. Good to see you, Oscar. No, I don't have the Class 33 on West Somerset yet. I will be looking to pick that up in the next couple of weeks, I think. Okay, so do we have to change the signals, or are they changed for us? Or not the signals, sorry, the points. No, the route is already cleared for us. Okay, so we just need to put the reverser into reverse. There we go. Release the brakes. Back our way up. Just killed the throttle, there we go. Oscar says he's enjoying the new... yeah, I'm actually enjoying the content with the Green Cities patch. I wasn't sure how much I would enjoy it. I didn't know how much would be useful. I mean, Snowfall is an example of my concerns about this. Snowfall was fun, but Snowfall is limited to just the snow maps, and there are like 3 of them, and that's it. So you have limited, options when it comes to the snow maps. There's no seasons in City Skylines. You either play with the snow or you play without the snow. And if you play without the snow, you lose all of that, or a lot of the Snowfall content. And I wasn't sure how Green Cities would translate it, so whether again that would be kind of specialised to just certain scenarios, or whether it would actually work quite well with everyday kind of building, and it works quite well. Speaking of City Skylines, I am going to start looking at doing a weekly City Skylines live stream as well, probably on a Saturday or a Sunday. I'm not sure which day yet. You remember at the beginning of the year... Oops, I hit that a little hard there. If you remember at the beginning of the year, I started in my spare time, not as a regular series, but in my spare time, I started to work on a little kind of private project city. Well, that's going to be restarted, and we're going to do that as a live stream build. So once a week, every week, we're going to be building that city from scratch. Let's see, we've got to wait 12:15 for the next service to start. Let's, rather than sit here and wait for 15 minutes, let's back out and then pick up the next service directly that way. Katie says she's going to be getting Genesis Alpha 1, Railway Empire and City Skylines because she's watched me play them and enjoyed them. I've had that effect on quite a few people. A lot of people have ended up buying games because they've seen me run them on the channel, which is kind of the point, really, of why I do what I do. A lot of people go on YouTube looking for game videos because they want to see what a game is like and how it runs and how it plays and what people's experiences are to help shape their own decision as to whether or not they actually want to pick up a copy. And so if I am helpful in that respect, then that's a good thing. So we want to go here. This is the next service, 12:15, Minehead to Bishop's Lydard. This is the one we would have had to wait for 15 minutes for. Hi Stefan, good to see you, and Bill. Okay, so here we are. We're sat in. Do we have to turn the engine on? Well, yes, we do have to turn the reverser back on again. There we go. Let's do the brakes. Throttle on. And away we go. Maybe. Do we still have a brake on? Straight brakes off. Oh no, we are moving now. There we go. Lyrically Spoken says it would be nice to have seasons. Are you talking for Farm Sim or for Skylines? I mean, for either, really. Yes, it'd be great to have seasons, but it'd be interesting to see if we do get some kind of seasonal weather in City Skylines. They are doing brainstorming sessions every Monday at the moment with the community, asking for ideas or suggestions on how certain things might possibly be implemented. A couple of things they've been talking about recently have been roadworks and just general site construction, things like that, whether those are things that could possibly make their way into the game and how people would like to see them implemented. They're just brainstorming sessions, they're not hints at what's to come, but definitely getting more involved with the community and looking for feedback on potential ways that the franchise could expand going forward, which is great to see. Taeyong says, thank you for making my mind up on City Skylines. I'm so bad, though. It just takes practice. It's one of those games that the first time you play it can be a little overwhelming. You can end up making a lot of mistakes the first couple of times you play. I certainly made mistakes the first few times I played. But the more you play, the more you kind of figure things out a little bit. And of course, there are a ton of different guides out there online for people to look through and have a read through as well for ideas or inspiration. Try and help them figure out where they're going wrong. And I'll be trying to sort of help people out with questions and stuff like that in my live streams when I start those at the weekend. If people have queries about how to try and do something, I can try and talk people through that. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to give you a working solution, but I can certainly have a stab at it. Oscar says I helped him decide to buy this Jurassic World Evolution. Yes, just platinumed Jurassic World Evolution a few days ago. Very proud of that one. It's quite tough to get one of those trophies, which is the unlock every InGen database. Half the entries in the database have multiple unlock conditions. Some of them seem a bit weird as well. They just don't seem like they would correlate to unlocking a particular character, for example. But other ones have very, very specific. And there's no set specific walkthrough guide on how each of those are unlocked, so it's kind of a little bit trial and error. But there are certain ones that you'll end up probably with at the end. You do need to end up building not just on all 5 of the islands in Las Cinco Muertes, but you also need to go back to the original island, Isla Nublar, as well for the sandbox mode, and you have to build on there to unlock some of those entries. Of course, we platinumed Subnautica as part of our playthrough when we did that. Got the platinum on the final episode. Did really enjoy that game, and looking forward to when that expansion does come out later in the year, the Below Zero expansion. Alpha Rod has popped in the chat. How you doing, Alpha Rod? Craig says, have I heard anything about the Marwell Manor update? It went off the mod hub before. On another note, just like to say thanks for all the videos. Love watching FS19 and Train Sim. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. That's why I do it. So it's great to see that you're enjoying watching those. I'm having a lot of fun making them. As far as the update for Marwell, I know it's been submitted. That's all I know. We did see in the past with FS17 on occasion, not very often, but we did see that if a mod was about to get updated, it did occasionally sometimes go missing from the mod hub for a couple of days and then reappeared as the updated version. Now, I'm not saying that's definitely the case this time out, but it's possible. It's possible if it has been taken down that it is on the way as an updated version. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But you can always ask on the forums, on the Giants forums, if Lissatan or any of the other community managers there, or community support staff, know why it's been taken down. You might get an answer, you might not. Some of the community themselves might actually know as well. So that's always a good place to check if you're not sure. Oh, we're a little bit too fast. Glanced down at the chat and missed my break point. There we go. Let's get a little bit of throttle. We've got a slight uphill gradient, so we're just bleeding speed. There we go, gradually getting back up to 5 miles an hour. Let's just ease that throttle off now. almost here. 30 yards to go. There we go. Essentially leave the brake on. Don't want to start rolling down the hill. So we want to unlock the other side. I've just unlocked the wrong side. And apparently I've just activated my emergency brake as well. There we go. Let's get that fixed. Lock the left side because that opens onto nothing at all. Hi there, Arfin. Welcome to the chat. 194 grass bales in one sitting. That is a lot of grass bales there, Katie. Take it that was on field 19, yeah? Killer Scott is up to 62% complete on trophies for this. Congratulations. This is one of those games that is very time consuming to get all the trophies. They're not necessarily difficult to earn, just a lot of time is required. You've got to run a huge amount of miles on some of these services. The class 43 you have to run for 430 miles. The 166 has to run for 1,660 miles to get a trophy. You've got to complete a large number of boarding tasks. I think 47 separate boarding tasks as a passenger on this service here, which is a lot. So some of the trophies are very time consuming. They're not necessarily hard, but require a long investment of time to actually get them completed. Hi there, Kim. Welcome to the chat. Killer Scott asks, anyone know how to get the safety first trophy on Train Sim? Which trophy is that? What's it say? What's the description of that trophy? Now we can actually open the throttle up to full for a bit. Welcome, John Luke. Good to see you. Hi there, Cornish Simmer. How you doing? And JKD Gamer as well. Good to see you as well. Acknowledge 500 CFA alarms for rapid transit. Oh, yeah, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I do know actually that the rapid transit pack, which is the Germany pack, is actually getting an expansion next week. I think it's... No, wait. That might be for PC that's coming up. But the main Spessart Bahn pack that was released just over a week ago on PC comes to console next Tuesday, the 12th. And I can't remember if that's a standalone pack or if that's going to be on the same route as the NEC pack. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Just need to apply the brakes. We are on a downhill gradient here. A little too fast. You're getting your maps mixed up there, Craig. Oxygen David didn't do Lone Oak. That was Bullet Bill. He actually posted to say that Oak Field is almost done. It's still got to go through the testing process before it can be submitted. You know, I think their own testing process before they submit it through to Giants for testing. So it's not like it's going to drop in the next couple of weeks. It's still probably at least a month away, but. Yeah, it's good to see that map's making the way over. That was one of the prettiest maps that we saw on FS17. And I never got to cover it with the series, so maybe we might move to Oakfield after we do Marwell. We'll see. No promises, no guarantees. We'll see what else is out at the time as well. I don't necessarily want to just retread old maps. I mean, I didn't play on that one, so... well, not publicly, anyway, so... That is certainly a candidate, but there are other maps out there that I would like to see as well. So, yeah, who knows? Hi there, Ellie. How are you doing? All right, take it easy, Oscar. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Hi there, Carsten. Good to see you. How is it in Denmark? Is it cold? Is it wet? Is it miserable? Or is it okay weather at the moment? Katie says, is it worth buying the Season Pass for FS19? The way I look at the Season Pass is if you are intending to get all of the DLCs, then yes. The Season Pass is very much worth it. The trouble with the Season Pass is that we never know what all of the DLCs are going to be until they're announced. So it's possible that you could end up with some very good savings over buying all of the packs individually. And this is the gamble of a Season Pass. If you think you're likely to buy all of the DLCs, and I am, because I'm going to feature the content on the channel, then yes, the Season Pass makes perfect sense, because you'll save quite a bit of money buying them as a Season Pass bundle over buying everything individually. Plus, we should also get that mid-cycle update, so the Platinum Edition expansion. We should get that as part of the Season Pass as well. We did last time out. So, in fact, the last two versions, Farming Sim 15, their Season Pass... Did they have a Season Pass actually for 15? I can't remember. Or was it just all the content released individually and then the Gold expansion? I can't remember if there was a Season Pass now for 15, but in 17 the Season Pass covered all of those individual packs, so the Coon pack, the Big Bud pack, the Roper pack, I think there was another pack somewhere that I'm forgetting, and of course the Platinum expansion. They were all covered by the Season Pass, and it should be the same this time around as well. So we've already had the first DLC announced, which is the Anderson Baling pack, which looks actually very, very good. Looks like that's going to bring a lot of great bailing options. I kind of hope it brings an increased bale count. I know it won't, but we're going to get all this great bailing gear in and still not be able to store that many bales or use that many bales at a time. But yeah, it's going to bring new larger capacity mixers, balers, bale wrappers. It's also going to bring a bio baler for baling poplar as well, which looks like that could be quite interesting. And a nice change from just shredding them with a forage harvester and selling huge trailerfuls of wood chips. So that'll be quite interesting to see. But that's the only one we know about so far. There's other stuff obviously scheduled for further down the line that isn't going to be announced until it's ready to be announced. So it's always a gamble. Inevitably some people will go, well, I feel ripped off because I bought the Season Pass and I only wanted 2 of those packs. Other people will be like, I bought the Season Pass and I saved a fortune because I wanted everything and it would have cost me a fortune to buy them individually. You have to kind of just weigh it up yourself as to how likely you think you're going to be to buy all of the DLCs. Oh, I just got a trophy. The West Somerset Rail tourist attraction. I wonder what that one was. Maybe that was the boarding tasks. JKD says this game looks awesome and that he loves trains. It's a lot of fun if you like trains. If you don't really care about trains, you're not going to enjoy the game. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's a relaxing game. You've got the option to run in cab or from a few sort of external camera viewpoints. You can use shortcuts on your D-pad to control everything. So you can see I can change my throttle here. Or I can change my brake, or if you want to get really sort of seriously into it, you can actually manually grab each of those controls and activate them that way as well. So you can be as sort of in-depth with it as you want, or as sort of light with it as you want in terms of sort of simulating and role-playing with it. And you have some tutorials, some scenarios, and then you have just services, and you can just pick what you want to run, the time of day, the weather conditions, the time of year, that kind of thing. It's a fun game, but you have to have an interest in trains to really get the most out of it. Jean-Luc, the Metal Edition. I don't remember FS17 didn't have a FS15, or at least not in Europe that I'm aware of. Anyway, it was the Gold Edition was the mid-cycle expansion, which brought Subnautica. I know that FS13, the expansion on that was called Titanium, so maybe that's where the mix-up is coming. But 13 wasn't available. Well, no, 13 was available on PS3. I don't know about Xbox 360. I'm guessing it was on 360, but they weren't available on next gen, which is now current gen. And I don't know if there was ever a season pass for that. Carson says it is cold and raining in Denmark. Well, it's been cold over here. We had an Arctic breeze, an Arctic blast sort of storm warning. I know America's been hit with that Arctic chill, where temperatures are plummeted with the wind chill factor. We haven't necessarily had, the full effect of that, but we've had very strong winds. Over the weekend, we had 80-mile-an-hour wind warnings. So it's definitely that time of year, isn't it, when you get miserable weather. How you doing there, Brendan? Good to see you. And Kevin, how you doing? Am I getting the DLC for FS19? Yes, I've already got the season pass, so I have all the DLC as soon as it comes out. I see what you mean there, Jean-Luc, about the Metal Edition. Gotcha. Hi there, David. Yes, it is awesome. TSW Tuesdays is back. The only reason I didn't run last week was I had a migraine, so I did post on Facebook and I think possibly on Twitter as well, just saying that I wasn't well enough to run. But it was only just a one-off thing. It was never going to be that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. What if we've gone past those tractors that always seem to distract me when we go past them? Let's have a look outside. Nice little farm area coming up over here by the look of it. Just some cottages on the main road by the look of it. Where is the farm? We must have gone past the farm already, I think. Let's just kill the throttle a bit. We're going a little bit too fast. 60, I think, works quite well on this gradient. Oh, we're still bleeding. Let's go up to 75. See if that'll hold us steady. Oh, actually, we're approaching the station, so let's gradually start easing that throttle down. Let's go into the station. Oops. I want to go internal. There we go. Let's do this from the driver's seat this time. It's a very steep approach to this station here. You can see that 1.5% gradient. You have to keep the throttle on, or else you're just going to just grind to a halt and start rolling back down the hill. How you doing, Philippe? Good to see you. Okay, 350 yards, not too far. Gradient is easing off, it's now 0.8%. It'll gentle itself a little bit more as we actually get into the station, I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah, down to 0.5. Let's kill the throttle. I've actually got a slight downhill gradient here, look. That changed quickly. Go with an initial application. There we go. Nice and gradual. DQ joking that I've got much better at stations. Well, it kind of helps. Yes, I have got better at stations, by the way. But early members or early viewers on my train sim videos will remember that I had a habit of screaming past the stations at full speed because I wasn't paying attention. Or I was just not hitting the brakes, and I would, I'd pull up, say, 300 yards past the platform, kind of thing. I have got better, but also it kind of helps that we're maxing out at 25 miles an hour on this service. That's got to count for a little bit of that. Almost ready. How are we doing on time, actually? I haven't checked to see if we've been arriving on time or not. I've got to arrive at the next station 12:49. That gives us just over 8 minutes to do 2 miles. What is my most anticipated mod for FS19? When you say like the pressure washer mod from 17, what pressure washer mod are you talking about? Are you talking about the washer station, which is just like the raised tarmac area? I think that's already out there. I know that there's, or something similar from a different modder. I know there's a fuel tank on a sort of a raised concrete platform, and I think that even includes a pressure washer. I haven't actually played about with that mod yet. I'm just trying to remember from the description, but that's the only pressure washer mod I can remember, was the washer station that I think White Bull Modding released. In terms of my most anticipated mod, well, it's got to be Seasons, isn't it? I mean, it's so fundamentally changed the way I play Farming Simulator that I can't go back. I can't go back to standard. That's part of what I'm doing with Marwell, is I can't go back to that. It's just everything's ready in 24 to 48 hours. Thing. It's too extreme a change. And I miss Seasons, terribly. So I'm trying to recreate Seasons as best I can, using controlled spurts of growth. so that it stretches the game out and feels more like Seasons used to. But that would be, yeah, that's the mod I'm waiting for, Seasons. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of mods that are, you know, out there in testing that will hopefully be very good, and there's a load of mods from 17 that I would love to see make a return, but Seasons is the one. That's the mod for me. Ooh. We just ploughed through a level crossing way too fast there. Again, I glanced down to look at the chat and looked up, and it's too late. We're about to hit another 25 zone again. There we go. So by the time I'd slowed down, you know, once I realised we'd have had to speed back up again, so I just kind of left it running. Have I watched anyone play Dirt 2.0? No, I haven't. I was going to ask you actually last week, and then of course I got ill. How are you enjoying Dirt 2, Katie? I know you've been excited for that one. David also says that he can't get into, David Henderson says he can't get into the game without Seasons. It's such a shock to go from Seasons back to vanilla. It really is. It's a shock to the system. You know, you're just so used to doing things on a planned system and a planned scale, and you've got controlled growth, and then everything just goes and explodes at once. It's just, yeah, it's too much of a culture shock for me to get back into it. I just, once you've if I'd never experienced Seasons, I wouldn't have had necessarily a problem with it. I mean, I was kind of starting to replicate Seasons a little bit before we even got it on Farming Sim 17, and I kind of would, you know, started to go back to that mindset, that mentality with Felsbrunn a little bit, but you know, I needed to just break clean from that and start with a proper attempt to replicate Seasons without actually having it, which is where Marwell came into play. And Craig says Seasons was a game changer. It absolutely was, and that's a term that gets thrown around way too much. A mod comes out and it's a good mod, and everyone goes, "Oh, this is a game changer," and it really isn't a game changer by in the proper definition. It makes one particular little task better and easier or faster, but it doesn't fundamentally change the game. Seasons literally fundamentally changed the way you play. It forced you to approach in a completely different way. It wasn't like an auto-load trailer, being a game changer. It just allowed you to pick up bales a little bit faster than using, one of the in-game auto-load trailers, or manually stacking. That isn't a game changer. That's a something that makes a task a little bit easier. But we're accelerating, not braking. Wrong button. There we go. But yeah, Seasons is absolutely a game-changing mod, because it literally forced them to rewrite the game code to enable it to be fitted in, and it, the whole way you approach farming with Seasons is so completely different to the game without it. So one of my little pet peeves is people just throwing that term game changer out there for for a mod that does a nice thing and is great to use, but doesn't actually change the way the game works. It just makes one little thing better or easier. I suppose it's just semantics, really, isn't it? But it's just one of my little pet peeves. Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm hitting the accelerator to brake. There we go. Getting my fingers mixed up today. What's going on? There we go. We arrived, actually, I think, a minute early. Mind you, we did kind of speed a little bit there, didn't we? How you doing, Mr. Watter? Good to see you. Yeah, that's the thing, Katie. With the original Dirt, I found that it was incredibly hardcore. But you know, if you ever got it right, the feeling of reward for getting it right was overwhelmingly positive. It's just hard. It takes so much sort of practice to get to the point where you can actually nail it more often than not. And for me, it was just too much work to try and get good on that game. I didn't have the patience for it, unfortunately, on the original Dirt. So, but I do like my racing games in doses. I used to play a lot of racing games. These days, I have little spurts here and there on F1 and Gran Turismo, but I'm not as hardcore racing as I used to be. Cornish Simmer says, can't wait for Bus Sim and Truck Driver. Bus Sim is getting closer and closer. Truck Sim, we're probably looking at least, I would think, summer. It turns out, for those of you that hadn't seen it, when I said that there was going to be an announcement and that last week, which we didn't end up talking about because I wasn't here last week, we were hoping that we would talk about that announcement and we might possibly get a release date. We didn't get a release date. We just got a nice sort of dev update on the state of the game, and they did say that they looked at the map and they just felt that it wasn't exciting and enjoyable enough. It was a little bit too repetitive, so they completely rebuilt the game map from scratch, which is one of the reasons why the game has been substantially delayed, because they've had to basically not tear up the entire game, but certainly the map that you play on got ripped up and thrown away, and they started from scratch in that respect. So I think we're probably looking at summer before we see that game, but Bus Sim is close, I think. Craig says, what was my favourite farm with Seasons on FS17? As in, my favourite map? I don't know if I have an absolute favourite. I had a little bit of a private play on Oakfield, and I enjoyed that, but I never really got much time to actually sit and play it properly. Obviously, we spent a long time on Lone Oak, and that was a brilliant map to play on. I would say that is probably going to edge it. But there were other maps out there that I really enjoyed. I had some fun with Green River before I had some health problems and had to step away from the channel for about 3 months, I think it was. Which, you know, killed that series. I had a lot of fun with Houda Ranch, but the map had a few problems, a few limitations. I had a lot of fun with Old Stream until it got that big expansion, and then it kind of killed the vibe of that farm for me a little bit. It went from a very small farm to a farm with lots of very sudden big fields, and it just completely changed my mindset towards how I'd approach that map. Then you had the little maps, like Altenstein was a great little map. I enjoyed that. Woodshire was quite nice. Baltic Sea was a great map. Yeah, there are loads of contenders. I think probably just sheerly on the amount of time I spent on it and how much fun I had spending time on it, I'd have to go with Lone Oak. It was such a great map to play on. Looked great. Played great. Options for customising the farm, you know, because the way the fields were laid out, there were no, you know, immovable objects or boundaries that stopped you from combining fields in ways that you wanted to. Yeah, it was a great map, you know. So I say that probably edged it, but it was tough. It was a tough choice. Cows Go Moo is there. How you doing? Let's hit the brakes. Going in just a little bit too fast. We need to arrive here about now, so timing wise we're going to be on time. Mr. Watter says, is there a new DLC for Train Sim World available soon? Yes, next week. There's a new DLC coming on the 12th, and it's the main Spec Art Barn. Oops, I'm hitting the wrong buttons again. Look, I'm trying to accelerate instead of brake. I don't know why my fingers are doing that today. I'm getting my fingers confused. I mean to brake and I go and hit the accelerator. Katie says she'd like to see more British maps come out for FS19. Well, we've had, what, 4 mod maps? And 2 of them are British, so that's already a good start. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get more. I mean, we know Oakfield is on the way, because Oxygen David just recently posted that Oakfield is almost finished. I'm sure at some point when things change, from what I understand, Bill is waiting for them to switch to a different Giants editor. I think they're going to go back to their original version of Giants editor rather than the new one, which a lot of people are complaining about, or at least certainly make some changes to the way that the new one currently works. I think he's waiting for that before he works on his maps again. So assuming that Bill comes back with a happy chappy mentality with the Giants editor, then we can look forward to seeing the completely rebuilt Coldborough. We can hopefully look forward to maybe seeing Lone Oak make its way across. Come on, there we go. Throttle not engaging. And so that's 2 more great British maps coming across. We will not be seeing the West Coast. He stated quite categorically that that would not be coming across. And I'm sure there'll be other British maps that we made there as well. I know Alien Jim's working on something new, and I'm sure that'll be given a British setting. So there will definitely be British maps to play on. How far away is Buston from being released, and how much will it be? Don't know and don't know. Is the only answer I can give. I think they said spring, so we're probably looking at late March, early April, late April kind of time. Within the next couple of months, I would imagine Buston will be out. As to how much it's going to cost, no idea. Haven't seen any hint at price yet. I would say probably no more than £40 would be my guess. Probably in the region of 25 to 30 is what I would guess at, but it's just an educated guess. I have no idea as to how much it's going to cost, and no official release date has been put out there that I know of yet. So all we know is that it's spring, or all I know of is that it's going to be spring. Kevin says, I hope we see Shamrock this time around. Yes, I'm hoping we see that as well. That was a map I was kind of excited to see. A small Irish farm. I was looking at like it might get released towards the end of 17, and then I think just ran out of time and it didn't happen. So hopefully that I'm not 100% certain, but I'm 95% certain that we will see that as one of David's next maps. It's probably being retooled, ready for 19. That might be next on the list once he's completely finished with updating Oakfield. As far as I'm aware, Kevin, Bullet Bill has not quit modding. He's just waiting for Giants Editor to be fixed. He doesn't like the way Giants Editor works. He finds it doesn't lend to creating maps very well. and once that is either improved or replaced with the original version of Giants Editor, he says he's going to come back. That's the information I have. Not saying that it's definitely correct, but I've heard other people say that he's going to quit. He's quit permanently. I've heard other people say he hasn't quit permanently. I guess time will tell. David Robertson is in the chat. How you doing, David? How is your clone doing? Well, he's still alive. You haven't died again yet. So you can be thankful of that, I suppose. Cornish Simon Matty says Marwell isn't in the mod hub anymore. Someone mentioned that to me last night. I think it was DQ. DQ mentioned that to me last night. Said that it wasn't in his mod hub. As I said earlier, we have seen in the past. Wrong buttons again. Look, we've seen in the past that with FS17, they didn't do it all the time, but with certain mods, they would disappear. And I think it was more likely, usually with maps and other mods in general, that a mod would disappear off the mod hub just before it got updated and then reappear a few days later as the updated version. So it might be, and I'm just speculating here, I'm not saying that this is definitely going to happen, but it might be that Marwell drops as an update this week. Maybe. Who knows? It may have been taken down simply because it is going to be updated, and Oxygen David doesn't want people getting a bad impression of the map because things aren't working on it properly. I don't know. We can only guess at this point. What are the main differences between Train Sim World on PC and Train Sim World and Train Simulator? Honestly, not 100% certain, because I don't have a PC. Well, I have a laptop, but it's purely for browsing stuff, and that's not much else. So I honestly couldn't say what the main differences are. That's not really something I can comment on. I've not looked at Train Simulator because I know it's not going to be coming to console because we've got Train Sim World. From what I think, Train Sim World is... they're keeping Train Sim World as something a little bit different so that it kind of mirrors whatever happens on PC will come to console, with the odd exception. Whereas Train Simulator, I think, is a longer running franchise that I know a lot of modders create content for, and I think can even sell. So there's a lot of sort of user-created rail packs out there using the editing tools which are available for Train Simulator. I think that's the main difference. But you'd be better off asking Dovetail or checking out the Train Simulator Facebook page or website for a more definitive answer. I've already Scott, so I got them all for this particular DLC. It's one of the trophies I've already nabbed. There's which end of the route is it? Yeah, there's a couple of collectibles that are sort of down here in this section, which is off the map. You kind of have to walk all the way down from where we started. That's our terminal point there, where we started our route. But you can walk all the way down the line. And you have to get some of the collectibles. There's some down here, and I think there's one a little bit further up somewhere around here as well. There are a couple that are sort of partially on the route in places as well. But most of them are all sort of surrounding the stations. Yeah, Matty, if you have a mod installed, then you have that mod installed until you remove it. Doesn't matter whether it gets taken on or off the mod hub at all. However, if you have a mod that gets removed from the mod hub, you keep it installed and someone else comes along and they haven't had the opportunity to install that, then they will never be able to join you using that mod in multiplayer. I remember so many people downloaded that little minion weight in the early days of FS17, and it was only on the store or on the mod hub for a couple of days before it was taken down for licensing, issues. Obviously the Minions is copyrighted, so it got taken down for that. I'm surprised it went up in the first place, if I'm honest, but it got taken down for that, and people never ever got rid of it. Some people kept it all the way through to the very end of FS17, and then they would insist on making that one of the mods that they used on every single map that they played on, and then wonder why no one could ever join them in a multiplayer session. It's because a very, very small number of people in the grand scheme of things ever downloaded that mod, because it was only available for a day or two, disappeared, never ever came back. So if you have a mod that no one else can use, and you have that selected in your game file, no one can ever join you. So if you do want to keep it, but you don't want to get rid of it, just unselect it when you load up into a multiplayer session, and then people without that can actually join you. But it means, that's a workaround, so you don't have to delete it if you don't want to. Alright, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and we can get going again. David says, need to get this game on, but £39 on the PS4 store is a bit steep. It's been on sale quite a few times. You've actually missed a couple of different sales. In the first part of the year, it was on sale over January, and I think into the beginning of February as well, or the third week of January. It was on sale. It's just gone on sale in America. Well, it was over the weekend. I think it might just have come off sale in America, but it was on sale over the weekend. Some of the packs were 20% off, some were 40% off. So it'll pop up on sale again. If you're wanting to wait for a sale, then another one will come along in the not too distant future, I'm sure. You regularly see stuff being put on sale on Steam for Train Simulator. They'll do a theme, and maybe German stuff will get discounted, or maybe they'll just do stuff that's been out for a while will get discounted. Sometimes they have theme sales, sometimes they just have sales. So yeah, you might well see stuff getting discounted on the PlayStation Store in the not too distant future. Am I going to do a Let's Play on Mercury Farms? Probably not. I'm only going to be running a single farm at a time with FS19. With FS17, one of the reasons that contributed to my health was the stress of trying to manage 3 or 4 different farms all at the same time, and trying to make sure that they advanced, and it was and then also do other stuff on top of that as well, and it was grinding me down to the point where I made myself ill, and I started chipping away some of those farms, but it was too late by that point. The health issues already started, so I ended up cancelling pretty much everything, and then doing Lone Oak when I came back after 3 months downtime. But I'm just going to do a single farm at a time this time, so we'll be running Marwell for a while yet, and then when we're finished on Marwell, we'll take a look and see what's out there in terms of maps, and we'll decide where we want to go from there. And Mercury will be one of those that we'll look at, but like I said, if Oakfield is available by that point, then we may well go to Oakfield. If something else like Old Stream is available, I may well go for a small farm experience on old stream. I don't know. I want to try and mix things up a little bit, but I only want to run a single farm at a time this time around. Because I'm more involved with other games than I was 2 years ago. I'm more involved with City Skylines now than I used to be. Obviously, we've added in Railway Empire into the mix as well, with regular DLCs coming out for that, so I need to make sure that there's always time for that on the channel. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, the Germany DLC for Railway Empire will be coming to the channel this week in the next couple of days. I picked my copy up earlier today and had a very, very brief glance at it before loading up Train Sim World. We've got this going on every Tuesday as well. I'm going to be doing a City Skylines live stream series on Sundays, so I need time to record all my other stuff, and obviously we've got Genesis Alpha 1 going through at the moment as well. So Bus Simulator coming in the future, Truck Driver coming in the future. All those games that we want to play and feature on the channel, can't do that if I'm running multiple farms. So one farm, 2 episodes, an episode every 2 days, that's enough, I think. Let's go with a 50% throttle, try and balance out against that 0.8% gradient. Jim Bob embraces diversity. Yeah, I've never been a farm sim only channel. Even from the very early days, yes, I started with farm sim, but I very quickly added in No Man's Sky, which nobody watched and I've since removed. But I also added in things like Prison Architect. I added in Tomb Raider, which again nobody watched, so I got rid of that. We moved forward. City Skylines came out, and that immediately doubled my viewership in terms of my subscriber base overnight. I went from just under 1,000 or around 1,000. I think it was at 900 something subscribers when that game came out, and within about a month of City Skylines being out, I had over 2,000 subscribers. A lot of interest in City Skylines, and I've been playing that every time we've had a big update to the game. And I enjoy that game. It's a lot of fun. And I've never been, and never claimed to be, a farming simulator only channel. Spin Tires, I had so much fun with Spin Tires as well. Put a load of different Spin Tires videos out there. Just look through my other stuff and you'll see this whole list of other games: Jurassic World, Construction Simulator 2, all these other games that I've played that I've really enjoyed playing and put up there, and some of them really well and attracted a regular audience. Some have been completely ignored by almost everybody. But I'm never going to be just a farming simulator channel. I'm always going to do other content as well. And I enjoy Farming Simulator. I put over 4,000 hours into Farming Simulator 17, and I probably won't put as many into 19, but I'll still put over 2,000 hours on 19 easily. Probably nearer to 3 over the next 2 years. So there needs to be a balance between not just having a channel dominated by just one game and everything else just getting ignored. There needs to be a balance so that everything gets a good amount of attention, I think. DQ says Jurassic World was one of his faves, and that's an example of a game that had a very small window of appeal. I really wanted to play that game. I wanted to stick it on the channel. I had a lot of fun playing it. The people who watched it had a lot of fun playing it, watching it, but not that many people watched it. But I didn't care, because it was something I wanted to put up there, and those that did watch it enjoyed it. Those that didn't watch it didn't watch it. Right, approaching Stogomer. We're actually slightly ahead of schedule as well, by the look of it. Let's kill the throttle. What a spoilers there, cows go moo. You're talking about me using a combine harvester. The thumbnail is more of a spoiler than anything. It's a big picture of the combine. You can't get much more obvious than that. Alright, take it easy, cows. And DQ's have got to go as well. Alright, have a good day, DQ. Thanks for popping in. Have fun with Genesis Alpha 1. I know you've been enjoying that recently. Oh, don't forget to check the update as well if you haven't already got that patch. Full patch notes are linked on my Facebook page for Genesis Alpha 1. Some will require a new save file to kick in. The rest will all kick in automatically. Oh, we really are crawling now, aren't we? Let's add a bit more throttle. There we go. Yeah, next week we will be running the new Spessart main, or main Spessart ban. That'll be what we'll be running on next week's TSW Tuesday as a first look. Let's creep forward a touch more. Come on, keep going, keep going. A little bit more. Get those extra couple of yards. There we go. And look at that, we actually arrived bang on time at 13:16. Stefan says he watched the entire Subnautica series I did again this week. I really, really loved that game. That was such a fun game to play. Every now and again you get... I mean, I enjoy pretty much all the games I play, I enjoy. But every now and again you get a game that just warms your heart, warms your soul. You know, you have so much fun with it. It's a delight to play. And Subnautica was like that. Yes, we had issues with lag in a few places, and I didn't really know what I was doing in half the time as well. But I had so much fun exploring and playing that game and trying to figure out the riddle of the storyline before the reveal happened. You know, it was fun. I really, really enjoyed that. It's like last night I finished Detroit Human for the first time. Started playing it a couple of nights ago, played it for a few hours, and then finished it off yesterday. Loved that game. That is such a good game. And I've got to go back and play it another few times to go through some of the other different experiences and routes that we can go through. That's a fun game. I had a lot of fun with that as well. That'll be on an upcoming Platinum post soon as well. In a couple of weeks' time, I think. Oh, and I've just seen Cat Noir's comment there about Detroit. I thought about trying to stream it, but the problem is I wanted to stream it so that I'll give people the chance to vote and decide on the options. But the problem is there's a delay of 30 seconds. So by the time that people start giving me answers on questions, that will already have long gone. So I realised that trying to do that as an interactive live stream just wouldn't work, which is why I didn't end up putting it online. But no, I absolutely love the game. It's fantastic. Killer Scott says loved the old Jurassic Park Operation Genesis on his PS2. Yes, I was a huge fan of that game. Absolutely enjoyed Operation Genesis. I played that so much. As soon as I heard Jurassic World Evolution being announced, I immediately thought of Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, and that's essentially what it was. It was an updated, reworked version of Operation Genesis, but with the new movie license and a few little tweaks here and there. Very, very similar style of game, very, very similar theme, and worked very well. And that's why I knew I was going to enjoy Jurassic World Evolution, because I'd had so much fun with Operation Genesis, way back on the PS2. Marcus, Flaming, and Mark Murray, welcome to the chat. How are you guys doing today? Right, 11 minutes to do 1.8 miles. Yeah, we should do that. Let's get our speed up a little bit more. Actually, let's hold throttle at about 60%. I think that should be sufficient for the gradient that we're on. Some cows in the field over there, by the look of it. Are they cows or are they sheep? I can't actually tell from here. Let's go free camera and have a look. Yep, they're cows. There goes our train. Rumbling through. Do I think we'll get a new construction simulator? I'm pretty sure that we'll get a Construction Simulator 3 mobile port. What I'd like to see is, a full Construction Simulator experience transferred over. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know. But that would be good, because there was a full. I think it was just called Construction Simulator. It came out in 2015, I think it was. I would like to see that. Maybe not that particular game, but that experience, that full version, brought over to consoles. I don't know if it'll happen. You would need to kind of get in touch with the developers on that one and see if it's in their plans. I did ask them once and they never responded. So, yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see. Jean-Luc says, heard a rumour today that some of the Farming Simulator media affiliates and partners have got videos coming out tomorrow at 11 o'clock UK time. I wonder what that's all about. Very mysterious, not about the DLC. I wouldn't have a clue. Giants don't seem to care about making that sort of information available to their console user base. as we saw from a complete lack of anybody getting any kind of, early access on console for FS19. They did all this stuff about PC, with loads of PC players got keys and stuff, and Giants made no early access keys available to console players, and very, very few questions were actually answered about console in the live stream build-ups. I mean, there are a few, but not that many in the grand scheme of things, which is frustrating because of the 1 million copies sold in the first month of Farming Simulator 19 being released, more than half of those were the consoles. More than half of their user base as console players, and we just don't get the same level of interactive treatment as the PC players do. It's a bit of a shame. I hope that improves going forward. Right, Crocombe Heathfield is our next stop. We are early, very early. How have we managed to arrive 6 minutes early? We haven't broken the speed rules that I'm aware of. Looks like we're going to be sat here at this station for a few minutes waiting for the all clear to depart. Make sure we don't get clobbered by the tunnel as we go through it. Just going to crawl in here at like 2 miles an hour. I'm going to have to start crawling, otherwise that gradient's going to kill us. What don't you like about sandbox mode in Jurassic World Evolution, Killer Scott? Because I actually quite like that. I mean, when the game first came out, it was just everything was, I think, unlimited. But I like the fact that everything is toggleable in sandbox. You can choose whether or not you have unlimited money. You can choose whether you have unlimited power. You can choose whether certain conditions are harder or easier than sort of standard campaign gameplay, as you will. You can do a lot of stuff in a big open environment as well. You've got a big space to play about with, so you can really go out there and create a wonderful little park. But you can make it as hard as you want. You can turn on all these different fees. You can really toggle with all the lighting, different lighting effects. I like the sandbox mode. What racing games are you wanting to see come, Katie? There's already a large selection of racing games available on consoles. Depending on which console you play on, of course. I mean, each has its own exclusive. So, Gran Turismo is there for PlayStation, Forza and Forza Horizons are there for Xbox. But you've got things like Project Racing, no, it's not Project Racing, sorry, Project Cars. You've got Assetto Corsa, 2 very hardcore sims. If you want something a bit more relaxed, obviously you've got all the Need for Speed games, you've got F1 racing games, you've got IndyCar, I think. NASCAR is definitely available. So there's all these different kind of genres already there, you know. And different levels of experience as well, you know, from the more kind of balanced games to the more sim-heavy games to the ultra-hardcore sims to, you know, all the opposite, you know, swing all the way across to the other side and you've got the arcadey racer games, you know, like Need for Speed. So there's already a large sort of selection of racing games available. Which ones in specifically are you wanting to see? Are you looking for something like, was it iRacing? Which was hugely popular with the sim racers on PC. A banger racing game. Well, we've got Wreckfest coming. It got delayed, but it's coming. I'm hearing end of March as a rumour. I don't know if it's true. But Wreckfest is coming, and that's kind of in the mould of the original Destruction Derby that we had back on PlayStation 1. So that's kind of a banger racing game. That's on its way. It's just a question of when it comes out. It's supposed to come out December, I think it was. Was it November? No, it was supposed to come out November 20th. It was supposed to come out the same day as Farm Sim. Okay, so we've got about a minute and a half to wait so we can get underway again. Are we waiting for another train to pull through? I don't think so. No, it would be here by now if we were waiting for another train to go through on the opposite platform. We've already had that kind of moment further down the line. So I'm going to read through some of the stuff in the chat. Yeah, whether you'll get the specific type of banger racing that you're after or not, I honestly don't know. I haven't seen that much of Wreckfest. It looked fun, but I wanted to wait until it came out, and then of course it never did get released. It got delayed quite substantially, so I don't know whether that's a part of the game. It's not just destruction racing. You know, it's not like Demolition Derbies. There is actual racing in there as well. I'm just not sure how much of an element is in that. Did I just unlock my doors again? I did. On a Muppet. There we go. Brakes are off, throttle's on. Away we go. A couple of people complaining about the landscaping tool forcing them to restart maps. This is why I've said since day one, if you're going to do landscaping, turn off autosave, save your game before you get started, do your landscaping, and if you don't like it, quit without saving and reload, and then no harm, no foul. You haven't damaged or destroyed a map. far we're going to go to Bishop's Lydard. 3.5 miles, and we've hit our speed limit. We're on a downhill gradient. There we go. That should control our speed. Let's gradually bring us back down. I think an undo button is, I've heard rumours, but I think an undo feature is going to be part of the update. I don't know. A PC player who has the beta patch would be able to answer that question. I've heard some of the changes that are being worked on as part of that, beta, which I'm guessing is going to go live in a couple of weeks. I would imagine it's going to be bundled in with the update for the DLC, which comes at the end of March, or third week of March. So I'd imagine at the same point we would get the next sort of update for the game itself to fix some bugs and maybe update the editor. I'm hearing that you can plant native grass with the editor in the paint tool, which would be great. I've wanted that ever since they got rid of it in Farming Sim 15. When they got rid of that for 17, I've missed that sort of ability to put native grass down. And I've also heard that there might possibly be an undo feature. I've only heard a rumour. I don't know if that's actually in there or not. What brand is that? Is that an old Renault? Old Massey? Who knows? It's not green, so it's not a fake John Deere. Corey's popped in. How you doing, Corey? Let's get our speed back up again. We've taken a little bit too much off there. Oh, that's a picturesque shot, isn't it? Try and find a good shot for the camera. There we go, that might work for our thumbnail. It's hard because I've got so much stuff I've got to try and crop out of the picture. Have I ever considered more difficult settings in TSW, turning off HUD signals, P2B, etc.? It's something I want to do a bit further down the line. I want to be able to see where I'm going, first of all. There we go. Yeah, it is something I want to experiment with a bit further on down the line. So maybe in a month or so we'll start turning some of that stuff off. But I enjoy this as a more casual experience at the moment, but at some point I am going to try and go a bit more hardcore with it, I think. Even if it's just only as an experiment, and I go, oh, don't like that, and turn some of the stuff back on again. But we'll definitely go hardcore at some point further down the line, I guarantee that. Take it easy, Cornish Simmer Matty. I'll try that again. Cornish Simmer Matty. Take it easy. Good to see you stopping by. Yes, Corey, this is the one where you're only allowed to go 25 miles an hour. Let's see, we've got a nice little stretch of track. Let's try something. Let's whiz ahead a bit. We'll try and set up a nice little scene. That's about as far forward as I can go by the look of it. Let's just sit... Oops, wrong side of the fence. Let's just sit here. And just watch the train rumble through. Alright, take it easy, Cat Noir. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you another time. That's kind of cool. I like that. I don't do that very often. Just sort of sit somewhere with the free camera, but I like to do it every now and again, just for a little bit of a change. Get some nice scenic shots. It depends on the map that you're running on, I suppose, on the route that you're running, and what trains you're running with as well. It's hard to set up something with the HST, because by the time you get the camera positioned, it's gone by. What's my personal view on the landscaping tool? I like it. I like the concept. It needs to. It's something that you can't do too much. You know, if you're going to use it a lot, then the changes you make need to be subtle. I think it's not one. It's not something that's great for just creating. Oh, excuse me, creating huge, great big monstrosities of earth piles jutting up everywhere, or just making a map tabletop flat, you know, in huge vast sections. It's a great idea for certain placeables. There needs to be a bit of a better blend to it, and being able to plant native grass is going to be a huge improvement if that is actually something that is coming, because whenever you sort of do flatten something out, you immediately just kill all the fruit that's on that section that you're working, and you end up with this flat, horrible grass under texture, which is just paint, and it looks so, you know, I mean, it's great as an underneath texture, but if that's the only texture you're ever going to see, it just looks flat and boring and dull and horrible. So being able to plant native grass with the painter, so that you can kind of, once you've flattened certain bits to put down a specific placeable, and then you can do your painting to blend the borders of that a little bit better, make it look a bit more natural, change the floor colouring where it needs to be, and then repair the damage that you've done to the grass by putting native grass back in and making that look much more realistic and seamless. That's going to be brilliant, absolutely brilliant if that happens. As it stands at the moment, it works depending on what you're putting down and where you're putting it. You know, if you have to make some pretty heavy modifications, it tends to fall down a bit. In my eyes, mainly because you can't get that native grass back. So if that is added in as an option, it'll dramatically improve the tool, in my eyes. Right, we're going in too fast. Going in way too fast. Slow that right down. There we go. Just rolling in. Let's get a little bit of throttle. We've killed the throttle. There we go. Isn't there a new DLC for this game? Asks Corey. Yes, next week. Comes out on the 12th. It came out on... It was either this Friday just gone or the Friday before that for PC. I think it was the Friday before, just this Friday just gone actually. But it comes out next Tuesday for consoles. And what's my favourite game? It's one of those questions you can never answer. It's like, what's your favourite record of ever, or song ever? Music tastes change as you get older. Well, most people's change. Some stay very set all the way through their life, and they'll always have a genre that they're especially fond of, but they'll listen to other stuff, and some of their tastes will change as they go up. It's the same with video games. Some games that you loved at one point in your life, you don't tend to think of again at a later point in life. They've had their time and they've moved on, kind of thing. Oh, I went through the signal. No. We failed the service at the last stop. I didn't hit the brakes hard enough. So I was too busy looking at questions. I'm frustrated now. I'm not going to replay the whole service. We're only going to be online for maybe another 10-15 minutes. So we'll pick up the service that we should have done at the end of that, where we sort of turn around and get prepped for the return journey. That's frustrating. Can't believe I made that mistake. So back to our weather, summer clear. That's the one that we just did. So it'd be this locomotive run around at Bishop's Lydard. I can't believe I failed the scenario. I don't have a favourite game of all time. I have some games that I have fond memories of, some games that I really, really enjoy playing, some more recent games that I've really enjoyed playing, and other games that I'm enjoying that I'm playing right now. My favourite game that I'm playing right now is Detroit. Detroit Being Human is just so much fun. I'm really enjoying that game. But I've only been playing it for like 2 days. I started for a few hours on Sunday night, and then I played it for a good few hours last night. That's the favourite game right now. Oh, we've got to uncouple before we go anyway, haven't we? Right, throttle off. Brakes. Put brakes to initial application. Let's pop out. Uncouple our train. There we go. Brake off, throttle on. Just going to crawl through these points here. Anaf says, I heard SCS might port out American Truck Sim. It's a long way off if it's going to happen. It's just a rumour at this point. I mean, they're making a switch over to DirectX, which would make porting to a console easier in the future if they decide they want to do it. They're exploring the possibility, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And if it does happen, it's still probably a way off. At least a year, probably 2 years away. I would imagine if they haven't already started it. That would be my guess. Right. Do we need to change the points? Let's have a look. No, we don't. Points to change for us. Excellent stuff. So let's get our reverser. Into reverse. Brakes off. And engine on. Jason says he's harvesting Field 18 on Marwell. It's a monster. Yes, I'm actually halfway through filming my own harvest on Field 18 at the moment. So it is a big field. It's not your fault, Corey. It's mine. I was paying too much attention to the to my laptop and not to the game. I do that a bit too often. Jean-Luc says he's taking a little break from Marwell, trying out Mercury Farms. Some of his ideas that he puts in are brilliant. Yes, some of the stuff that Alien Jim does with his maps is fantastic. Other stuff feels a little gimmicky to me, but you know, he's trying things out, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and you know, every map he releases where he tries something like that, he learns a lesson that he can carry across into the next map. Something that does work well, something that doesn't work well. You know, you see the biggest difference, and I'm not sure the exact reasoning behind this, but I think the biggest difference between the 17 and 19 version of Mercury is obviously you've still got the buildable house, but everything else is already either pre-built or just not there at all. So I'm wondering if maybe that he felt that it was a little bit of overkill, maybe it's just because of the way the placeable system works or the farmhouse system works that he had to do it that way. I don't know. But you know, there are definite changes. There's a lot less sort of interactive stuff on the 19 map than the 17 map. You know, we saw the big pond area has changed. There's no sort of valve to flood that pond area on the new version of the map that was there on the 17 version. Right, now we need to change reverse to forward. There we go. Spin around so we can see where we're going. Get the brakes running. Engine off. And, well, engine on, as I should say. And off we go. Can't beat Oxygen, David and Bullet Bill for realism, though. They are... Oh, have I failed again? Again, I looked down at the... I looked down at a question, I didn't even see the red signal. Alright, we're going to replay this one. We are going to do this one, and when this one's done, then we're going to call it. No, I'm not... There you see, look, there you see a big advert for Spessart coming next week. It's very bright and colourful, that, doesn't it? Right, let's do this again. Let's get the train uncoupled. And I remember that there's a red light this time. To have the title of the most realistic maps, because they're actually, you know, having done with some of their maps, but not all of them, you know, created, you know, genuine locations, and then, you know, for the other part, they've just, you know, taken the concept of a real map and created something that isn't real but plays as though it was real. Obviously, the more recent stuff that they've done, Oakfield, Lone Oak, Marwell, these are all genuine, real farms. So they have that air of authenticity. And they're all modelled very, very well in terms of, you know, a faithful recreation, not just of the farm itself, but of the area as well. It's not just a case of, you know, taking a farm that's real and then just plonking it on a fake map. You know, the whole thing is a genuine, faithful reproduction with a few caveats. You know, obviously they have to change a few things to put sell points and stuff in, but or BGAs, things like that. But you know, they do play as very, very realistic because they are very, very realistic. And there are other modders out there that do create a kind of a realistic kind of feel without necessarily being a real map. You know, I think of stuff by Red Kindsters, who creates very, very highly detailed maps that have almost a realistic feel to them, but obviously they are not genuine locations. But yeah, Bullet Bill and Oxygen David definitely seem to have that monopoly, at least as far as console mods go, because we don't see that much of PC stuff. They have the title of the most realistic map makers. Thank you, Corey. Yes, getting that Jurassic Platinum was a challenge, but it was fun. You know, it's another one to tick off. Mr. Water says he just got a trophy on Pure Farming 18. I've been meaning to have another look at that at some point. They've just released a new Big Machines update, which is added in a new harvesting machine and a Deutz-Fahr 9, I think T9 or 9 series has just popped up there as well. I mean to at some point go and have a look at that and check it out. I've heard that the game has improved a lot recently. It still has some issues, still has some bugs, but it certainly does look and play better than it did before. So I might go back and have another look at that at some point. Katie says it's a shame the dog in Farming Sim 19 doesn't get in your tractor or other vehicles. The dog's a cheap gimmick that wasn't, well, we were told wouldn't be a cheap gimmick and then was a cheap gimmick, and yeah. I'm not even going to use the dog because it's just it does nothing. It does nothing for me at all. I was so disappointed because I had all these ideas about what they were going to use or how they were going to implement the dog after Lissatan's promise that it wasn't just a gimmick, it would serve a purpose, and then it turned out that it served no purpose and it was a gimmick. Got those the wrong way around there. Alright, take it easy, Philippe. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Pro Gamer 2018 has popped in. How are you doing? Right, let's change the reverser to forward again. Spin the camera around. This time we've got to remember not to go through a red signal. There we go. Proceed at restricted speed. Turn the brakes off. Get the throttle on. And away we go. That is not a confirmed release date, Corey, for Truck Driver. That's probably a placeholder date that you've seen on a store point somewhere. No official release date has been announced, or at least not by Sedesco on their official Facebook page, and they're the publishers. So, yeah, it's probably just a placeholder date. I'm not saying that it won't necessarily end up being June 25th, but There is no official release date at this moment in time. There we go. We have completed our coupling. So it's another service that we can tick off as being complete on this. I want to find out what that trophy was I got as well. Let me have a quick look. What was the trophy I unlocked? West Somerset trophies. Here we go. Summer vacation. Complete all scenarios. No, tourist attraction. Yes, complete 47 passenger boarding tasks. So we did get that one. I did wonder if that was the trophy we unlocked. But that is it. So we've come to the end of another TSW Tuesday live stream. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed, drop a like. Please, subscribe to the channel if you don't already. We will be doing this every Tuesday for the foreseeable future. Next week, we'll be running the new main Spessart Barn DLC pack that comes out next Tuesday. So it'll be the perfect opportunity for us to take a first look at that on the day it's released. I will also be starting a City Skylines build challenge live stream series on Sundays, starting this Sunday. Not sure what time yet, but I will update on Facebook and on Twitter if when I figure out exactly what time I'm going to do that. Might be mid-afternoon UK time, and of course the replay will go up on the channel, so if you miss it you will still be able to watch it. That will be a weekly series that we'll be doing, a once a week at the weekend City Skylines live stream, where we try and build a giant city from scratch, probably with everything unlocked. We'll see on that one. And then, don't forget to watch my other stuff. My farming sim, my Genesis Alpha 1. Railway Empire comes back to the channel in a couple of days as well with the new Germany DLC. So there's plenty of stuff to keep us occupied and interested. And of course a whole back catalogue of stuff that I've done in the past as well. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon.